Good morning, everybody. It's Ray Gibson, and it's been a very long time since I made a video log on this channel, and there's some pretty good reasons for it. I don't like making excuses, but back in September, I had a conjunctival lesion, conjunctival lesion removal in my left eye that left me rather incapacitated for 90 days. And I wasn't told this before the surgery. Typically, I research medical terminology, medical procedures done upon myself because I like to be informed. I even went to the best medical library in Stanford, California, Stanford, California's medical library to research my own heart procedure, in which I had a catheter ablation back in 1993. So I was well informed of what could happen, what would happen, what not one of the side effects that occurred, but for the most part I knew exactly what was going to happen. But for some reason I did not have the same impression about this eye surgery. I thought it was just a quick outpatient surgery, and it turned out to be much more than that. And let me, I felt like a blowtorch had been blown on my eye. I could not close it without that happening, and I experienced some of the most severe pain you ever want to experience for 4 days after that surgery. And let me tell you what I should be asleep, and I could not sleep because for some reason I was called to watch a movie that I've seen probably 5 or 6 times now, called The Help. And it was, I don't know if it was a true story. I think it probably was a true story. At least it's true for the history of our nation when it comes to black people. But I saw something new today that I had, and I was almost asleep when it dawned on me that I could relate to the main character that book was written about in that movie. And I want to dedicate this video to a cousin of mine with the initials KR. You know who you are because you're the one that urged me, convinced me, coerced me into watching that movie. And I haven't been quite the same since. But all of this ties into my book, by the way. But I'm getting to that part. What struck me was something that was it Millie? I'm sorry. Again, I'm pretty bad with names, but what the lady said in the end, what that maid said in the end, which was, nobody has ever asked me what it was like to be me. People have made assumptions all of my life, including the assumptions of who I was as a child, what kind of person that I was as a child, simply because we had money. They had no idea. The people around me, my family, my friends, strangers, people that were involved in my father's life. They had absolutely no idea what it was like to be raised in that environment, let alone me being completely confused about my gender. So I was in I kind of felt trapped. And the only way that I could express myself at that age was to play a lot of sports. I was very shy. I did not talk very much. I did a lot of observation, and the only person I actually talked to and questioned her to death was my mother, who I was a very curious child. I was a very independent child, and I would ask her questions that she just couldn't believe I asked her. But on my other channel, I'm very, very transparent about how I feel about a great many things. On this channel, not so much so. But I'm going to do that today, and I'm not going to limit myself to 15 minutes, so you may have to hang in here to hear all of that I have to say about my book, about the plans around my book, around the roadblocks to getting this book out and published. But, you know, and I'm not saying any of this for people to feel sorry for me, because most of my life people have not felt that way about me. They've had very little compassion, very little empathy, because they couldn't relate to the life that I was living. And that is not what I want. I don't need people to feel sorry for me. What she said in there, in the last part of that movie, was that nobody had asked her what it was like to be her, but it started with telling the truth about what she had been through as in the 1960s as a maid. And you know, this is all very full circle type of thing for me, because I grew up with a maid. We didn't treat her like the people in Jackson, Mississippi treated their people, but I had one nonetheless, which was a perk, somewhat of a perk, because, you know, she did clean the house, but she made me clean my room, which I complained about. I was like, well, we've got a housekeeper. Why do I got to clean my room? Isn't that her job? But at the time, I didn't realize that they were trying to instill some kind of responsibilities for me to have, which was to at least clean my room. You know, she vacuumed it, but I had to clean it up. And a lot of times I shoved all my toys and crap under the bed and shoved them in the closet. I had so much stuff in my closet one time that my mother suspected that I wasn't cleaning my room because it happened too fast. And she opened the closet door and all my stuff fell out. I was in trouble. But anyway, I want to be free of all of the myths that existed around my life. And I also want to tell the truth about my perceptions and instincts about why my story has not been told, why it has been edited or published. And hey, it may cost me scaring people off that may or may not want to help me get this thing edited and published, because it's going to imply a lot of things in this country that people do not want to see, do not want to know about, from both sides of the track, from white side, from the black side. On the black side, I think a lot of my family and friends and people that knew me think that I'm going to shine a negative light on them, even though I'm not. it may come out in terms of, I don't know, that people would read between the lines and wonder, what was up with those people. But I'm not going to be talking about them by name. But they will know who they are by what I say, because they were there. Another thing that has been happening is that, okay, everybody knows that the media is run by white people in America, and there's a lot of racist type of issues that have happened all of my life that I bring forward in that book. And what I've noticed is that while people are somewhat sympathetic about the things that I have gone through from the civil rights era and movement until my life today, while they are sympathetic, they don't want to know what it's like to be me in that environment, in that situation. So I've gotten every excuse in the book about why my story isn't important enough for traditional publishers, and why the legal implications of having a lot of celebrities in our house every year from the time I was in the 4th grade until my parents divorced when I was 16. So there's a lot of things in there that people can use as excuses not to go hog wild out to get this story out, because it's going to open eyes about not only racism, but phobias, from homophobia to transphobia, to a lot of things of that nature. And, Americans are funny creatures. They're nosy, but they don't want to know the truth. They're nosy about things that are going to cause drama, but they're not curious enough to know what it was really like for me, and what it has been like for me all of my life, including this incredible pushback that I've gotten from, quite a few publishers and editors. And so I am going to set myself free, even if it bothers people. I did say that I'm dedicating this to my cousin, who urged me to watch that movie. And there's so many parts of it that I can relate to, even though I was a kid during that time, and some of that stuff happened long before I was born. But see, I can resonate with it in my soul, where a lot of these people that are looking at the story, which I will no longer just give it to them and let them read it so that they can judge it, but it does not resonate with their soul. It does not resonate with their experiences. It is not something that they can, like I said, relate to. I'm very tired. I haven't gotten any sleep. I did lay down to go to sleep, but found myself watching that movie, and my hair is a mess. I need a haircut, and those baseball caps covered my eyes, so I decided to wear one of my brims. But there is a certain kind of media apathy going on when it comes to this story. I've said in another video on this channel that I am the last living person related directly to Bob Gibson that can tell that story of what it was like to grow up in his heyday, when he was breaking records and, becoming a wealthy man. I was the only one. I'm the last one left to tell that story. And So that's another reason why it's real important that it be told before I get too old or something else happens and I don't get it out there. Um, I wrote a couple of notes. Oh, I had a hater, a white man, a hater, um, jump on the business page, my Facebook business page, for on Facebook, that in which this guy, this unknown guy, I don't know him, he don't know me from Adam, but for some reason he found it necessary to put some nonsense on my page saying that I don't vote Democrat, that I don't vote at all, that I'm a spoiled whiner or some crap like that. Look, there's going to be a lot of haters that are going to come forward when I am able to publish this book, and I'm seeing that it's already starting without any bit of it being out there. And that platform allowed that person to put that review on my page and then hide it. I'm not going to tell you how, because if I told you how, then some idiot out there that's watching this video log is going to try it and succeed with it until I find it. So, but anyway, he put some really rude stuff on my page that had to do with my celebrity growing up years. It's like people don't see that there's 50 years in between all that, and that I no longer live in my father's shadow, and I am no longer affected by his fame. None of that stuff is a part of my life today, even though my father is a part of my life. We don't have the greatest relationship, but we're starting to talk more honestly with each other about his difficulties with embracing me as a trans man, and I told him some of the struggles that I had as a child, and he appreciated knowing that stuff. He had no idea that it was happening because my mother is the one that saw all that. He was on the road making us a very, very good living, and I will never regret my past. I'm not apologizing for having it better than a lot of other people in that city did. In fact, we probably had it better than all of them that were black in that city. But at the same time, people are trying to make me feel guilty for having that kind of life when I didn't have anything to do with it. I was the child. And at that age, I had no idea what was going on anyway. The life of a celebrity and a public life and all of the things I experienced were my normal. Didn't make me any less black. Didn't make me any less... Well, it did make me talk different. It did make me jive different. I did have to live a double life, triple life. I had to learn I had to learn how to talk properly around my people while talking a completely different way around the people I grew up with, which was an exclusively white upper class neighborhood in my hometown. And so I had to learn, two different ways of being in the world, which kind of splintered me up even more and made me even more detached from an identity. But there were a whole lot of things I experienced that weren't. Money doesn't solve everybody's problems. It is a necessity to have, but it doesn't make you happy. It doesn't erase any of the pain that one experiences throughout their life, especially if you are black. I experienced more racism in that city than any other black person in that city because I was alone. I didn't have them to talk to. I didn't have white people to talk to. I didn't have black people to talk to. They didn't want to hear it anyway because they thought I was living the high life and I didn't have no issues and I didn't have no problems. Not the problems they had, they're just different problems. And if you study successful people, you'll see that, you know what, it just puts you in a different, you deal with different issues. But yeah, everybody would like to be comfortable. And I grew up very comfortable and I grew up very uncomfortable. I was a loner. I didn't know who to trust to be around me. That they wanted to be around me for me or they wanted to be around me to get to my father. And 90% of the time, family, friends, strangers wanted to get to him through me. Because I didn't have much of a personality. I never talked. I wasn't approachable. I wasn't friendly. All I did was play sports and do other things that made me feel good, but they were very lonely type of things. I was a very, very lonely child as opposed to all of my family, all of my friends, all of my schoolmates. Everybody was standoffish to me. Everybody. I didn't even get to go to the prom. Not that I wanted to because I don't like wearing dresses. But the white boys in my neighborhood were afraid to ask me because anybody who hung out with me, anybody who let it known they were hanging out with me, got called a nigger lover. So I experienced things that people have no idea that I experienced growing up. Not to mention being camera shy and very nervous around crowds of people, and there were always crowds of people around us, whether it be at our house, whether it be out in public, and whether it be at the ballpark in St. Louis, where there were thousands, double-digit thousands of people in that ballpark. So I just wanted to be real about it. I want to tell the truth about what it was really like. While all of my less fortunate peoples saw that I was fortunate and I lived a somewhat privileged life, all they saw was all those toys I got, but they didn't see the other stuff that was happening without all the money. They didn't see what I was going through in school. They didn't see what me and my sister had to tolerate from all them white folks that ain't never seen a black person before and made a whole hell of a lot of assumptions about who we were. Oh, which brings me to this. I got the opportunity to go to the University of Colorado in Boulder. I really didn't want to go to college. I was sick of school, but my father gave me a choice of going into the Navy as a cadet or college. And with my little rebellious, hot, crazy ass, I was not about to go into the military. I just knew that wasn't going to work for me. And so I chose college. Before I even showed up there, my first day there, people already knew I was coming. Everybody knows that black people have a tendency to gossip when it comes to celebrities, and they do so when it comes to celebrities' children. So before I even got there, I had to go to summer school, and everybody knew I was coming. And when I got there, I had a roommate. Yeah, I had a roommate, and she got to know me a little bit, and she said, "Wow, you're not like anything anybody has said about you." And I said, "People, what do you mean people said about me? They've never seen me before. They don't know me." And they said, "Oh, well, they know you're Bob Gibson's offspring, so, you know, You must have been an arrogant, uppity, standoffish um, black child coming to this school. She says, and you know what? You're not any of those things at all. You seem a little shy. And I said, that's all it is. That's all it was. People interpreted my shyness as being arrogant, that I have money. And from that point forward in that school, you know, she was really nice to me, because at first, when I first showed up there, she gave me the side eye too. Like, oh God, you know, we got a celebrity's son or whatever here in the college, and he's gonna be an asshole. But I wasn't. I'm a nice person. I'm a very approachable person, and I'm very friendly. But they didn't know that. They put me in a box before I even got to Colorado. And I've got tons of stories like this in my autobiography. And then the power of it is going to be the last half of it, where I get to talk about all the things that are going on around me being a trans man. I had a guy jump on my channel a month ago, and I didn't see his comments because I've been trying to recover from this eye surgery, so I haven't been on the internet as much. And I just discovered his comments. And he said something ignorant about me being transgender and thinking I was gay, and he was a racist, and he had gone after somebody that I know. And because I made comments in his YouTube video, this guy is taking it upon himself to contact and look up every single person who made a comment in this live, where he just tore this friend of mine a new asshole because he didn't like him. This is the kind of thing that people do. They can't just let people be who they are and embrace who they are. And that goes for being black, brown, yellow, red, white, gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer, and all them other acronyms. People are so judgmental. People are so stuck in the mindset of Christianity and other religions that they just cannot stop. They can't help themselves but to judge and kill and murder. So I'm in a very interesting situation because I'm black, I'm a trans man. People like to talk shit about who we are. I'm a black man. I'm a son of a celebrity. I'm a transgender son of a celebrity. And so there's all sorts of people who don't want to see this thing come out because it might implicate them. This story is about me. It's about my life. The people who, except for my nuclear family, because everybody knows who they are, you know, I've asked everybody else, I've asked permission to use their name, and if they didn't give it to me, I'm going to use another name. They're going to know who they are by the story that I tell, but that's their own personal choice, whether they reveal to other people that it's them that I'm talking about. But otherwise, this story is the story of my life. It's my autobiography. It's all of my blood, sweat, tears, and successes and failures that I've had in life, and how I went from being homeless in my latter teens to turning my life around. There's just a whole lot of inspirational things about my book. It's not a downer. I'm going to make it fun. I'm going to make it, well, it is fun. It is interesting. And it's inspirational. Because if I can go from where I went, you know, my life has been a roller coaster ride. Yeah, it started out way up here. And then it went way down there. Then it went somewhere in between when I joined the service. Then it started going up again. And then it went up and all around, and all sorts of stuff happened. And then I fell down again in 2001. So there's just a lot of meat to this story that, again, I'm getting pushback from the white community who owns the media. And then I'm getting pushback from a strange little pushback from the black community, who, because of slavery and because of all of the ways that we have been taught to hate each other and to hate ourselves, there's kind of sort of an illness going on in the black community where they put celebrities in a different category and then take pot shots at them. I think we're the only culture in this country that does that to each other. And that was set up by a guy named Willie Lynch, who was a white man that figured out how to keep black people fighting with each other. And it is my life's mission, the rest of my life, to break down those barriers and to break down the ways we are made to feel about ourselves through media. For example, when one of us gets murdered, the first thing the media, the mainstream media does is look for dirt on the victim, nullifying the fact that they were murdered by the police or by some vigilante asshole running around there, or white supremacists. All the dirt in the world, to me, doesn't excuse that. And so I've been writing for Medium. I have some little articles, short articles on Medium, and but everything stopped when I had this eye surgery because I couldn't see, and it hurt, and it was bleeding, and it was a mess, and it's taken a long time to heal. So I had momentum. I had a lot of momentum before that happened. And I just didn't think the surgery was going to be as serious as it was. And so it stopped my momentum with regards to my book, with regards to my business, with regards to plans that God put in my head to try to work around the roadblocks that have been thrown in my way. And that's just how I'm wired. I have always found another way around something. It may have taken me a little longer that way versus people being cooperative and being my partner and being just as excited as I am to tell a story that is just not going to be matched anywhere. I've had family members come after me for a variety of things, from the fact that I'm a trans man to the life I got to grow up in. And if they knew what it was like to be me and to live the way that I lived and had to live, they would all relax. It might even cause them to forgive their past, what they had to go through in their past, and to forgive me for having nothing to do with their past. What could I do as a kid? The decisions their parents made, they were adults. What children really pays attention to the adults in their lives, to their parents and stuff? Nah, we spend our childhood trying to avoid parents because we're too busy playing, being kids. So, well, a lot of us. I did hear a story recently of a 8-year-old young lady she's going to be a young lady, but an 8-year-old who knows who she is. Her parents are teaching her culture. We've got a whole history, a wonderful history that has been lost in this country because all the school systems seem to want to teach is white history, a lot of inaccuracies about that history, and lies about our accomplishments and things that happened before we were brought to this country. See, before Africa was colonized, they were very peaceful people. Um, and before people started going over there for their resources. But so yeah, our history that would give us pride, that would give us our dignity back, that would maybe cause other people to see our humanity and not treat us like animals and dogs and like we don't matter. They will take better care of their dogs in this country than they take care of black people. They would no more run out and shoot a dog than the man on the moon. But yet, you see how they do us. And I really want to get the first half of this book out so that I can concentrate more on the second half. And what I decided that I may do is to self-publish my first book starting from the year 2012 forward. When you're self-publishing, you have to do all of your own marketing. You have to do all your editing, or find editors, and they cost. And I am an elder. I live on a fixed income. I am disabled. I'm a disabled veteran, and I'm disabled by Social Security. So I don't have money to pay people to help me get this book published. And I do have a link. I think I have a link. I'm not sure in these videos to ask for financial support in helping this happen. And see, people want to hear the story because they're nosy, but they don't want to help me make it happen, or they would, throw me a bone or two. That tells me their level of commitment of wanting to see it happen more than their level of commitment to helping me make it happen than just wanting to see a story. My story is not a average, ordinary story. And I can't wait for people to find that out. I mean, I can drop bits and pieces there, but I don't want to tell my story on video logs. There's just too much to it. I'm 61 years old. It's 61 years of life. So if I chop it up into, the last, since 2012, the last 8 years or so, 2012. 2010. Sorry, 2010. So the last 8 years, which will be 9 years by the time I get something like that out, if I get that book published, it's just going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot of something to be able to market the thing and get it out there. And then I may be able to attract the attention of traditional publishers. I don't trust literary agents. They have put them in between publishers and writers, which didn't used to be that way. But a lot of those literary agents are crooks, and they take your money and then they don't do anything for you. They still make you do all the work. So I just wanted to jump on here. I probably won't. Nope, I'm not gonna sleep until later. I'll probably crash in the middle of the afternoon or later. I do have an appointment at the VA today. But I'm having health issues. My eye isn't the only thing that I'm having issues with. I've got neuropathy and arthritis in both my feet. So I'm facing a lot of challenges, but I'm going to win. And you know where I got that winning spirit? From my father. No matter what, that man went out there every day, whether he won or lost, and just kept on throwing that ball. He got in the game. He wasn't sitting on the sidelines. He wasn't in the dugout. And he and I picked up on that somehow, and am the type of man today that I don't give up. No matter how many quote unquote failures that I have, all they are opportunities to win, to succeed. So if one door closes, I just turn another direction and try to open another door. And that is the way that I've lived my life. That is the way that I conducted my career. And all of these things could give people hope and show people ways to get there, even though their present circumstances are telling them they can't. I was very fortunate when I first got clean and sober that I had a couple of sponsors who told me I had to take can't out of my vocabulary. Do not use it. And every time I used it, they called me on it. I've always picked people who I let them be my mentor. I could have rebelled against them, but at that point, I was ready to learn. I was open. I had hit my bottom. I wanted to go another direction. I wanted to feel different. And if I wanted to feel different, I had to do and follow instructions and do what people who have been there told me to do, because I looked at their lives and saw how happy they were and how successful they were, and who was I to play a pity party about my life and not follow what they were saying to do. So I did it, even though I didn't understand what they wanted me to do or why. I just had enough to know that they had what I want, and I was willing to go to any length to get it. So I was ready to take every step they gave me. So I'm making this extra long because I don't know when I'm going to make another video on this channel. And I just wanted to let everybody know to have faith in me, to believe in me. I'm going to make this happen. This month, the middle of this month, is when this eye is going to be completely healed. And I decided not to let him do this eye. So we're talking about options, about what to do. I've got a contact lens in this eye that they call Band-Aid contact that keeps the lesion from irritating my eye, and it had a lot of symptoms. I also did the landmark form again after a 24-year hiatus, and I did that right before this eye surgery. So I was really pumped and really excited. Then I got this eye surgery and everything went wrong. So challenges, only an opportunity to succeed and to pick myself up and dust myself off and pick the momentum back up. I study and watch a lot of people, and I just do what they did. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I just need to do what successful people do and forget the ones who don't have any ambition and aren't going anywhere. I'm watching people who are. So with that, everybody have a blessed Wednesday, productive Wednesday, an awesome Wednesday, and the rest of your week. And if you celebrate the holidays, happy holidays. And Ray Gibson is out.